to really show Weird Al what Portland is all about and what Rose City Comicon is all about. So without further ado, let me bring to the stage Weird Al! Come on! Microphone. So that is how we like to do things, and that gives us an opportunity to make sure that you get as many of your questions asked as possible. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks for asking. And yourself?
Oh, I'm doing fabulous. You know, had a light breakfast, got in a little workout, and you?
It's good to get some good nutrition first thing in the morning. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Yes, it's the breakfast of champions sometimes. Guys, let's start it off right now. Look at all these phones. People are so excited to have you here. We're gonna get... Start over here. Question from you.
Okay, I guess there's no pressure at all being first. One thing I just wanted to ask about was Milo Murphy's Law. How did you get involved in that, and when do we get to see more?
Thank you. I got involved because Dan Povenmire and Swampy Marsh were casting for the show, and apparently they had auditioned literally hundreds of people for the part of Milo Murphy. But according to Dan, they couldn't find an actor who could really pull off that kind of like upbeat, positive thing without sounding fake. And he said, well, what about Al? They met me, you know, in the halls at Disney shortly before that. And they said, yeah, we should have Al come in and do it. And they did it, and it worked out great. To answer the second part of your question, yeah, Disney's doing a weird thing with airing Milo Murphy. It's like, you know, back when I was a kid, you'd have like a show on every week. And what they do is like they don't air it for like months at a time, and then they air 10 in a row, and it's like not on any real schedule. But the next chunk of shows will be later this month. I think the third week of September. They're doing like 6 or 7 Milo Murphy's like night, you know, a premiere every night, and the season finale is going to be the last one in September. But then they're going to do like a Thanksgiving special. And then they're going to do a Christmas special, and then season 2 starts in April. So it doesn't make a lot of sense, but they are all airing at some point.
So I should start marking my calendar.
You should, yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Your calendar, your scientific journal, some sort of algorithm and geometry, I don't know. Question over here?
Hi, I've been a fan since early 80s, I think, and one of my favorite things that you've ever done is UHF. My favorite.
Thank you.
So my question is, if you have any funny anecdotes or personal memories from that movie?
No. Well, gosh, it was a long time ago. We shot that in Tulsa, Oklahoma, mostly in the summer of 1988. And we shot some of the pickup shots, like the Indiana Jones sequence, and a few of the special effects shots at Introvision in LA early the next year. I mean, gosh, there are a lot of anecdotes from the shooting of the movie. I guess the one that comes to mind is Orion Pictures, who put it out. We're a little freaked out because you know, it was sort of a leap of faith with them because they never worked with me or my manager who directed the movie, and they were waiting to see what the movie was going to look like. And as it turns out, the very first thing we shot in the whole movie was Spatula City. So Orion Pictures is waiting to get like footage from this big movie that they're shooting, and all the shots that they're getting are people admiring spatulas. The entire first day of daily, they thought, what did we get ourselves into?
Question over here?
Hi, I, like you, am also an alumnus of the College of Architecture and Environmental Design at Cal Poly.
Nice. Go Mustangs.
Yeah, go Mustangs. So one thing that was always debated was where your dorm room was. So if you happen to know where your dorm room was, I would like to put the answer to that debate.
For the record, I was in the Sierra Madre dorm in my freshman year, room 34G. Tower 4, floor 3, room G. My locker combination.
I had a question about your appearance on last week's Night with John Oliver.
Oh, yeah.
The North Korea song. Did you write that, or was that something they had prepared for you?
No, I didn't write that. It was kind of funny. I was actually on vacation in Maui with my family for a week, and we were supposed to be, and I get the call from John Oliver's people saying, we want you to do this North Korea song, basically save the world if you would for us. And I said, well, you know, I'm on vacation. Can you do it? Can you do it like the following Sunday? They said, no, it's North Korea, TikTok, we gotta go. So I basically flew from Maui to New York to do the show. Originally, what they pitched was, first they said they wanted to do a North Korea song. I said, oh great, I'll do a North Korea polka. They said, well, our writers want to do an a-ha parody, because part of the conceit in the show was they loved the song Take On Me by a-ha. And then later that afternoon they said, okay, our writers tried, they can't do it. Why don't you do your polka thing? so I wrote the song, I wrote out the charts for all the band and sent them in. And the band were all people, they were all incredible studio musicians, but I'd never worked with them before. I met them like the day before we did the show. We did a live to tape Sunday night, and it aired like 2 hours after we performed it.
Thank you.
Has had this incredible career and is so very identifiable. Do you ever get a moment's rest when you're on vacation?
Yeah.
You ball cap and sunglasses guy?
It depends. The part of Maui, I live part-time in Maui, and the part of the island that we live in is really small town, so people know us there, but it's not like overridden by tourists or people that would like flip out. So it's very casual.
Good. I'm glad that you get a chance to sort of decompress. Question over here?
I've been to over 140 different concerts, and you were my first in Amarillo, Texas.
Oh wow, cool.
Back in '94.
Nice.
And I had a question, because I, like so many people that night, was singing along to The Saga Begins, and you held that he's for a while. What is the longest you've ever been able to hold that?
85 seconds.
85 seconds.
I just hold until my lungs give out, and then that's the end of the show. Sure.
Question over here?
So my question has a couple parts to it.
What's the third part?
I can't say or else you're gonna ruin it.
Okay, all right.
So a couple years ago, a couple of my band musics, you and Guar did a cartoon together.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to, any stories about it, how that came about?
There's not a lot to say. There's an animator named Mike Chillin, I think that's his last name, who worked with Guar, and he had the idea to involve me in that piece. And he came to my house and actually recorded my voice tracks in my daughter's bedroom. He just brought a video recorder, and we just did it there and put it together. It turned out great. I've met the guys in Guar over the years. In fact, I saw their show, where was I? I was somewhere where Guar was performing, and got to see them not too long ago. But yeah, our paths have crossed over the years. In fact, I remember we played one place in Atlanta the night after Guar, and they said, oh, sorry, we haven't scraped up all the blood off the floor yet. Guar was here last night. They make a mess. They're messy people.
So to go with that.
Oh, sorry. Part two.
You have to put part 2 and part 3 together for me, so we can get it. Thank you.
Are you kind of disappointed that your character didn't get revenge on owners Romulus before he went back to his home planet? And have you ever thought about doing a parody of Guar?
It hasn't occurred to me to do a parody of Guar. They're pretty out there as it is, so and I don't know. I mean, if Mike calls me back to do a sequel, I'm all for it. Sure.
Question over here?
Yeah, long-time listener, first-time microphoner. Do you have any stories you can share about the great Stan Freberg? Working with him.
It was I worked with Stan Freberg on the Weird Al show, my CBS kids show in the late '90s, and I tried to work with as many of my idols as possible, but Stan was the only one that said yes. Tom Lehrer is just like the J.D. Salinger of music. He just does not want to be in public at all. And I ran into Shel Silverstein, and he said he would be a consultant on the show, or I could run ideas by him, but he didn't want to be on camera. So Stan Freberg was the only one that was open to being on the show. He played J.B. Toppersmith, who was sort of the high-powered network executive that always gave you stupid notes, and I had to follow him because he like wrote, ostensibly gave me my paycheck every week. And it was just such a thrill to be able to work with my idol every day, to go to work under Stan Freberg. And his son Donovan was on the show as well. Both Stan and Donovan played Papa Booley and Baby Booley, the puppets on the Fred Huggins show, where they just hated me with a passion. I mean, that's not a really amusing anecdote, but it was just such a great thrill for me to be able to work with a guy who really is on my Mount Rushmore of inspirations.
I've been a fan for a lot of years, and I've got to say I never really appreciated just how talented you are until I saw you perform live. And my question is, did you write all of the palindromes for your parody of Bob Dylan's Subterranean Homesick Blues?
Thank you. I wish I could take credit for those, but they are nearly all just famous parodies that I was able to find and collect. And it was my idea to make those into a rhyming scheme and make them sound like a Bob Dylan song, but I can't lay credit to, I don't think, any of them. they're all famous palindromes.
That's okay either way. I am absolutely amazed.
Thank you.
Hi, big fan since Peter and the Wolf, actually.
Obscure.
Also, you were my first concert as well. And my question is, during your concerts, you have a ton of costume changes. What is your favorite and least favorite costume in concert?
Well, probably the least favorite would be a couple years ago, I dressed up like a giant peacock for my Lady Gaga parody. It wasn't comfortable. It was like 4 minutes on stage, I was like, oh, I'm not enjoying this too much. So the following year, we switched to something else. The most fun, I don't know. It was fun for me to dress up like Jim Morrison from The Doors to do Craigslist. That was always fun. It's all fun. It's a lot of work. It's a workout doing this show. I mean, besides what goes on stage, I mean, backstage I'm doing the quick changes and running around pretty much as I do when I'm out front. So it's I get to burn some calories.
How is the process for you when you come up with an idea and a concept? I'm thinking of Lady Gaga. How do you know when you've nailed it? Does it change from the way or is the vision pretty complete usually when you stop? How does your brain work?
I mean,
admit it. You want to know.
Not sure. Once I get a high concept, I'm pretty good at deciding whether that high concept is going to be able to sustain a 3-minute song. Like I get some ideas and go, oh, that's funny, but I can't build a whole song on that. But if I ever get an idea, before I've even written the song, I'll get permission for it because I know that once I've got that idea, I can follow through and write a good song.
How often do they say no?
It's pretty rare. Over my entire career, I think I get kind of one hand of people that have said no. There were more people in the beginning of my career because they kind of didn't know what this Weird Al guy was all about. And my track record, it hasn't been spotless, but I've had a really, people have come to accept it as an honor. It's a badge of honor to get your Weird Al parody. Like you get your Grammy, you sing your platinum albums, and your Weird Al parody. So.
So Al, I just wanted to ask that question that I'm sure you must probably get asked all the time.
You can't have $5.
No. The other question you get asked all the time. What is your advice to aspiring up-and-coming wannabe comedians?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say my number one piece of advice would be to floss regularly. Dental hygiene is very important, and it's nothing to be taken for granted.
All right, so firstly, I'd like to let you know that Dare to Be Stupid is my life's theme song.
Thank you.
And so follow this one. What question has no fan ever asked you that you always wished had been asked you, and what's the answer?
Everything. Look at this room. It's packed.
I wish I'd been asked, would you be willing to accept this large pile of money?
So, have you been close friends with any of your fans?
Asking for a friend, hashtag.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some fans / friends for many years. Some people that started out as fans have become some of my best friends. I'm not going to give you any names right now, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a weird distinction between fans and friends because, I would like to think that my friends are also fans. I would think that they would not, hang out with me thinking, oh yeah, I like him as a person, but I hate his music.
Question over here.
So I watched the show My Little Pony, and I know that you voiced a character called Cheese Sandwich on the show. I was wondering if you enjoyed playing a role on a children's show like that.
I did, yeah. I've done a lot of voiceover work, and I do a lot of children's shows, and My Little Pony was something that I was very excited to do. Bill Anderson, who was on the road with me like in the early 80s, he went on to do a lot of the scoring for the My Little Pony show, and I became sort of aware of My Little Pony through all the videos that the fans had done using my music videos and cutting in clips from the My Little Pony show. And they were amazing, they're really amazing. And then when they asked me to do a voice on the show, I jumped at the opportunity. An impressive percentage of the stuff I get asked to sign at this point is actually My Little Pony stuff. The fan base is incredible.
At what point, outside of signing My Little Pony stuff, did you realize, this is it, I've made it? Your career's really quite robust.
Yeah, I like to say when I appeared on The Simpsons, because that's sort of like my kind of yeah. The Simpsons, they're 5,000th episode now, and they'll be in syndication for the next million years. So and actually I was on the show twice. I'm one of a very small handful of celebrities that have appeared more than once on The Simpsons. So I feel it's an elite little group, and I'm very happy to be part of that.
I love that. Question over here.
Hi there, huge fan since I was a tiny little larva. First off, some of your older stuff, like Good Old Days, you're kind of dark and had some pretty abrasive stuff to say, and it's gotten a little more mellow over the years. Was that just kind of how you matured, or was that a personal choice? And also, how do you keep your hair so amazing? Mine just getting thin over the years.
Well, those questions are related, actually. I don't know that I've really mellowed. I mean, if you look, my stuff has always got kind of a dark streak to it. It's kind of strange because my stuff is branded as family friendly, and I don't use profanity, and I don't generally do anything that's overtly sexual or really, inappropriate. And yet, a lot of my songs are really dark. These are really, questionable areas. So that's just the way my brain works, and I can't really help it. And as far as my hair, it just grows out of my head that way. Right on. Sometimes.
Love you, man. Thank you.
Question over here.
I was just wondering what will give you idea to start up a band.
Well, I found that when I played the accordion by myself, nobody would come to my shows. Actually, it did start when I was a teenager. I tried to start my own band when I was like 13, 14 years old, and I found out that nobody wanted to play with an accordion player. None of the rock bands that I wanted to join, felt the need for that. So it wasn't until I was in my 20s, after I had a hit with Another One Rides the Bus, and John Bermuda Schwartz, I met him that night, September 14th, 1980. he banged on my accordion case live on the Dr. Demento show, and it became sort of a worldwide viral hit in the days before things went viral because there was no internet per se. And John and I just kind of looked at each other and said, well, we should put a band together, and we did. We've had the same band since 1982.
Go ahead.
Hi. So I had always heard the story that Prince would never let you cover any of his songs. And I was wondering if you had ever actually written any songs. You kind of answered earlier, but which songs of his you would want to cover?
There were about a half a dozen Prince songs that I asked for permission for. I think When Doves Cry, 1999, Kiss, a couple others. Actually, the original idea in UHF, instead of Beverly Hillbillies Money for Nothing, it was going to be Let's Go Crazy with Beverly Hillbillies. That was the original plan. And we pitched that, and he said, no, we went with Dire Straits. But there were a number of times where, you know, we wanted to give it a shot, and for whatever reason, he always said no. So I'd like to abide by the artist's wishes.
Thank you.
My son, when he was a teenager, Weird Al Yankovic fan.
Good job.
He's 33 and he still listens. I wanted to know, where do you come up with the idea with the song? Do you hear a song and it pops into your head, oh, I can do that?
For parodies, I wish it were that easy. I mean, that's happened maybe once or twice where I'd be listening to the radio and I'd spontaneously get an idea. It happened that way with Fat. I was waiting for the new Michael Jackson video world premiere, and before the video was even over, when they were going through the turnstiles on the subway, I was like, Fat! I gotta do Fat! They'll be like, I'm trying to get through the subway turnstiles.
Dr. Demento.
Yep. Yeah, Dr. Demento.
Go ahead.
So, what gave you the idea to start writing parodies for different songs?
It's just something that I'd always done since I was a kid. I think most kids at some point do that. I mean, I didn't come up with that idea. I think everybody at some point in their lives hears something on the radio or starts making stupid lyrics. And that was something that I did as a kid, and I just kind of never grew out of that phase. And then when Dr. Demento came along, I said, well, why don't I send in some of my stupid song parodies to the Dr. Demento show? And he played them on the radio, and that encouraged me to send in more. So I kept getting a constant stream of encouragement to the point where I'm still doing it.
I want to know what you think. What do you think makes you so relatable to people her age and people much older? I mean, I just watched these amazing questions come up, and
I'd rather hear what you think.
No, you first.
I don't know.
I watched the way you answer the questions, and you answer all the questions in the exact same way. I mean, it's really great. You don't talk down to anybody. You've got great answers, and so I think that's a big part of it. And that is probably a testament to your character, which then comes through in the work that you do, which is someone here has some Weird Al thing that is all theirs, right? And there's a lot to choose from in your body. That's my answer. You let me know. Let's go in there for a question, please.
Which song that you have done is your personal favorite?
I like it. I get that question a lot. My stock answer is white and nerdy because it's the most autobiographical. There's no real answer to that. I probably feel closer to the original songs because I wrote the music for those as well. Currently, I'm sort of partial to Jackson Park Express on the last album. It's a deep cut. But it's something I put a lot of work into, and it's again very dark and twisted. But and I really like the way that the production turned out on that. But yeah, it's I can't really give you an honest answer on that because I feel very close to everything that I've ever done. It's a curse.
Go ahead.
Speaking of dark and twisty, what was your inspiration behind the song "One More Minute with You"?
Well, I had a girlfriend of mine at the time had just broken up with me, and I was just about to start writing the Dare to Be Stupid album, but I was, you know, kind of depressed and feeling bitter and not in a good mood, and I decided to write the world's most bitter love song. It was sort of really a catharsis for me because I had to like get beyond all my weird, dark, bitter feelings and just kind of get it all into the sick love ballad. And then once I had done that, then I could move on, and it seemed to work. And I won't give you her name, but I do rip up her picture in the video.
Question over here.
Hi, having been a fan of your work since I was a kid, one thought that always occurred to me, this guy's got great musical talent. Has he ever done any non-comedic work?
Well, if you listen to the instrumental versions of my stuff, that would be non-comedic, I guess. I could, but that's not my strong point. I mean, I think I'm better at doing funny stuff. When I was in my early teens, I tried to write serious music, and oh man, it was bad. So embarrassed. I came across some old demos that I'd done in my teenage years that were trying to be like deep and profound and serious, and like, oh man, if that ever, it was the most embarrassing stuff I'd ever seen. So I'm not anxious to try that again. I always say I leave the serious music to people like, Paris Hilton and, good at doing that kind of thing.
Question over here.
Can I have a hug?
Sure. And there is your overdose of cuteness for the day. That is so cute.
Now, everybody has to get a hug back to make it even.
Well played. It's like bingo. Now it's off the sheet, so nobody else can ask. Well done, sir. I admire your style. Go ahead over here.
Whether it was sung by Milo or not, what is your favorite song in Milo Murphy's Law?
I've never been asked that before. Rooting for the Enemy was a fun one to do. That was a good. I like the theme song a lot. The theme song's on the box set that's coming out. There was another. There were several ones. There was like a Holiday Road knockoff that we did for the some kind of traveling episode. I haven't contributed. I haven't written for any songs for Milo Murphy. They've asked, and I haven't gotten around to it yet. But the writing on the show is so good. It's always such a joy to sing those songs.
Okay, so about 9 years ago, you stopped in Lewiston, Idaho.
He's got it. He remembers.
Just over yesterday.
Were you aware of the mosh pit that started up at your concert?
Sure. Was this during the polka medley, or what was this for?
I actually don't remember what song it was. It was pretty early on because once...
what year was this, roughly? Do you remember?
I want to say 2007, 2008.
Because I remember during, in the early 90s when we were doing Smells Like Nirvana, the first few times we did it, we would get like mosh pits from the crowd, which was pretty crazy. And there was one time, I think we were in Pittsburgh, where they actually didn't mosh during the polkas. But in the last 20 years, I don't remember there being a mosh pit, but I'll pretend like I do.
It was just a small group of us, rapscallions, I'm trying to say it.
Well, you guys were awesome.
Thanks.
Go ahead, over to you.
Hi. So unfortunately, in today's day and age, the accordion isn't quite as popular an instrument to learn as, say, guitar or piano. So
in some circles.
Yeah. So lessons are pretty hard to come by. Do you have any resource suggestions or best practices or tips for like absolute beginners?
If you live in the greater Los Angeles area, Dave's Accordion School in Atwater Village. So that's fun. I haven't, been shopping around for accordion lesson books lately. But back when I was a kid, it was like, I think it was Palmer Hughes accordion books. You might be able to find those on eBay, I don't know. Yeah! Or come by my house and I'll give you some lessons. We'll see how it works out.
Just gave me the call me. Go ahead over here.
Yes, would you like to have this huge pile of money? It's pretty obvious that Lin-Manuel Miranda is a big fan of yours, and I was wondering if you ever think about writing a parody song of one of his songs.
Well, that could happen. I will tell you that I don't know if I should tell you this story, but between in the Heights and Hamilton, Lin-Manuel would come to my house every now and then, and we try to knock around ideas to try to write a musical together. And we actually, I don't think I can tell you too much about this story because I'm not sure how much of it is okay to say in public. But tell the story. I will not resort to pressure. But yeah, we actually were talking about doing a major project together, and then he got a little busy after Hamilton came out. So it might happen again sometime down the line. We're still good friends and mutual fans, and we'd love to work together, but it might be a while.
That's a good question. Your turn. You can do it. It's tough, believe me.
Did you have fun making fun of yourself? And also, are you gonna come back in as Darkseid?
If they want me back to Darkseid, I'd be happy to. That was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to do. They had me do they affected my voice, and I was the Darkseid voice, whatever that was. And they affected it, made it really scary. And then the joke being that like somebody offered me a cough drop, and I'm like, oh, this is much better. Thank you so much. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it's always fun to poke fun at yourself in a show like that. And yeah, I mean, I love the show and I loved being on it, and if they wanted me back, I'd be happy to.
How old are you?
I am 57 years old, and you?
7.
Okay. I'm just a half a century older.
And go ahead over on this side.
One of my first memories as a kid, like 4 years old, was Square One.
Oh yeah.
And you did a dreidel song parody. I can't find that anywhere.
What song parody? A dreidel song parody?
Yeah, but it was like Patterns.
Oh, Patterns, yeah. I have to say, I did not write that song. That was actually written by a gentleman named David Yazbek, who is a really talented writer. He wrote several Broadway musicals. He did the musical version of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels and a few other things. But that was an early project for his as well, and he wrote that, and we did that for Square One, which is, it's kind of hard to, I think it's probably on YouTube, but it's kind of hard to come by. But thank you.
And over here?
So, one day I was listening to the radio and I heard Ed Sheeran's Shape of You. And I heard the line, I'm in love with your body, and I thought it said Bon Me, and I was thinking that you could make that song into a parody.
I'll get right to work on that.
Question over here?
As you mentioned, you probably always get the question, what is your favorite song? That got me thinking, because lots of panels come through. Are there any songs or lyrics that you look back on and go, I probably shouldn't have said that?
No, there are some things which even by mentioning them, I hate to bring it up because then it becomes controversial, but there are some words that I used early in my career which are now certainly not politically correct. But at the time, it was acceptable. Now it's sort of like people would roll their eyes a little bit. In fact, there was a word that I used in word crimes, which I didn't know was extremely offensive to people outside of North America. Well, it was spastic, which generally is considered in the U.S. That's just a goofy, uncoordinated, silly person. But in Australia and the UK, that's somebody with a severe, somebody with a
severe disability.
Severe disability, yeah. And it was a horrible thing to say, except I was not aware of that, so I apologize for that. When we performed that song in the UK, we cut out that part of the song. So that's difficult because you don't know sometimes what the international implications of the things you say are, and you have to be kind of careful about that.
Thank you for your honesty.
Sure.
My question is, back when you got started, did you ever think for a moment that your career would last this long?
And honestly, I didn't. I mean, when they signed me to a record deal in 1982, it was for 10 albums. I'm like, yeah, that'll never happen. And certainly the record company didn't either. I mean, nobody thought that was a possibility. When they sign you to a draconian deal like that, it's not because they think you're going to have 10 albums. It's like, it's the same reason that the contracts say, if your record is ever released on the planet Jupiter, we get a cut of it. It's like that same kind of thing. It's like they want to cover themselves. And the fact that the contract got renegotiated twice and wound up being a 14-album contract that lasted 32 years. I don't think anybody expected that. So, that took everybody by surprise.
Thank you.
So I was wondering, why do you hate weasels?
Well, I don't. The character in the song hates weasels. And the song isn't even about, hating weasels. It's just kind of a statement on tradition and that why you shouldn't do something just because, we've always done it that way. And it's funny that, not a lot of people, but some people really took me to task for Weasel Stomping Day. They thought, that's animal cruelty. That's like it's just a song. No weasels are actually getting hurt. Do you eat hamburgers? I'm a vegetarian.
Well, thank you.
And a question over here?
I have two questions. The first one, do you know what episodes you were in The Simpsons?
I do. There are 3 Gays in the Condo and That 90s Show.
I never won. What was it like working with all the actors and actresses on Tacky, that music video?
That was amazing. I think that was the most fun I ever had on a video shoot. It was Jack Black, Aisha Tyler, Margaret Cho, Eric Stonestreet, Kristen Shaw, and is that it? And me. And it was a lot of fun because we did it all in one take. And we ran through it 6 times. And by the 6th time, we were like, I think we got it. I think we're done. But we're having so much fun. I kind of wish that we were messing up more because I wanted to keep doing it because everybody was having such a good time. It was one of those kind of things where we rehearsed the camera move in the morning, and then they showed up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we were done by 4. And I was like, okay, goodbye, thanks guys.
Good question. Over here?
Hi. You were my first concert in 1983 at Summerfest.
I remember you.
Well, anyway, I was a very weird child, and finding you and your music was really inspirational to me. So my question is, when you were in middle school, what song do you remember writing?
Writing?
Yeah.
In middle school?
Any parodies, or what's your first parody?
Okay. I mean, this is all stuff that I wish didn't get brought up, but since you brought it up. mean, there are songs that were so bad that even Dr. Demento wouldn't play them. You know, I mean, I think the first parody that I sent him was a parody of Paul Simon "Loves Me Like a Rock," which was brilliantly retitled "Hit Me with a Rock." And it's about as clever as it sounds. But that's the thing about practicing and sticking to it, because over the years you get better. And I like to think that the stuff I did on my last album is a little better than the stuff I did on my first album, because you know you got your Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours thing happening. You know, like, you get better if you just keep at it.
Thank you.
Why did you choose music as a career?
Well, I didn't think it would be my career, honestly. I went to college and got a degree in architecture because I didn't think I'd be Weird Al for a living. I thought, oh, you know, this will be fun, but I didn't think that that's how, you know, I didn't think I'd be here today, you know, talking to you guys. And it was just one of those kind of things where I got a few lucky breaks, and my life, you know, went down this strange trajectory, and now I get to, you know, do exactly what I love doing for a living, which still kind of blows my mind. I do need somebody to polish my fingernails. I don't know.
Over here?
So my name is Wyatt Boogie Taylor, and my dad's the one who first introduced me to you with Amish Paradise. Now, but was it enjoyable for you to do that music video and sing that song?
It was. That was a fun video to do. It was a complicated video, and I was directing, and so I was very focused on getting it right. There were a lot of difficult shots. I mean, the most difficult shot was the whole backward scene at the end, which we didn't have a lot of time to shoot, and I had to learn the whole chorus of the song phonetically backwards, and then sing it, and then, you know, do this whole thing with farm animals and buggies going in front of me, and I had to fall into a pile of hay. I mean, there are a lot of moving parts, plus me trying to sing to this bizarre backwards track, and we somehow got that in a few takes. And I got to work with my parents, and my relatives, and Florence Henderson. It was really an amazing couple of days. I wish we could have shot it in Lancaster, Pennsylvania to be more authentic, but we couldn't afford to fly out there, so it's in the rolling hills of Southern California instead of the very flat Lancaster. Thank you.
Over here?
So this is mildly embarrassing because at like 16 I had a dream where I met you and freaked out, like super fan status. How do you deal with super fans, and do you get a lot of that?
I suppose. I mean, I think there are a lot of super fans here at the convention, I just try to treat everybody like my friend, like they're, you know, human beings, and I'm very thankful and grateful for, you know, any kind of positivity you want to put toward me. But you know, I'm just very, very thankful that they're here and that they show their appreciation. And thank you guys. Thank you.
Thanks for allowing us to meet
Hello there. Big fan. The song One More Minute helped me get through a breakup as well, so thank you. I wouldn't expect it now, but in the past, when you and your band first got started, do you have any stories when, like, basically, I don't know, pitching to a manager or talking to backup singers, they look at you and go, it's a song about what?
I didn't generally have those kind of conversations because my manager, Jay Levy, has always sort of been the guy on the front line who's dealing with the publishers and the agents and the managers and all that. So he would just tell me after the fact about the conversations he'd have. Like, he'd call them and say, hi, I represent Weird Al Yankovic, and they'd say, oh, we're so sorry.
Over here?
So I remember you from the movie Safety Patrol back in the day, but I do have a question. What was it like working on BoJack Horseman?
Oh, that was fun. I just started, the new season today is on Netflix. I'm going to binge watch it. It's great. It's a great show. You know, it was really fun. You know, I actually, I emailed Aaron Paul who's on the show, and I think one of the executive producers, after the second season, and I said, I had just binge watched the entire first 2 seasons, and I just emailed him and said, hey man, such a brilliant show, congratulations. And he said, oh, we should get you on the next season. I said, yes, you should. so they wrote me into it, and I read an article, an interview with the creator of the show recently, and he said, oh yeah, I was great in this show. I don't know if we'll have him back though, because I can't act professional around him. I guess he was a fan when he was a kid, so it was kind of weird for him to like direct me into things. But professionalism's overrated. I mean, come on.
Over here.
When your music has been a huge part of my life, like all of my life. My stepdad and I first bonded over your songs like White and Nerdy and eBay, and I actually befriended the little girl who I was a nanny to for my first nanny job because she and I both love your songs. And I was wondering, I know it got brought up how you thought you became such a multi-generational like icon, but how do you feel about being such a multi-generational icon?
Oh gosh, well first of all, thank you so much, it's so wonderful to hear. It's just, you know, that's what you get for hanging around as long as I have. I mean, sheer tenacity of you know, if you can hang around and do something for, you know, several decades, you wind up, you know, affecting generations of people, and it's an incredible thing for me to hear that people have used my music for family bonding, you know, for, you know, I've heard that, you know, some people say that my music is a soundtrack to their life, or that they use it on long family trips. There's like a Weird Al burlesque show where people are taking off their clothes to my music. I mean, it affects a lot of different people in different ways. Is
that Dante's here in town?
But that's very nice to hear. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And our last question, over here to you.
A lot of pressure. Pressure.
My question was, so my favorite song is Amish Paradise, and so why did you make this song and what inspired you?
Well, Coolio's song, Gangsta's Paradise, had been #1 for a couple of weeks, and I was thinking, oh, I should do something with this song, I should do something with this song. And then I thought, you know, what would be like diametrically opposed to the gangsta lifestyle? The other end of the spectrum, well, Amish Paradise, oh no, that's my next single, I gotta do this song. It's weird, but you think I'd be like excited and happy I came up with a good idea, but it's sort of like, in that moment I was like, my whole life has changed now. I have to, and the album's coming out, and I got to go on tour, and like it was like I saw that all in an instant. But yeah, it was all that just that epiphany, like, oh, I should do that. You know?
That was one of those songs that you mentioned. Now you know what I do at this time. I come down and I take a selfie with you because it's a great perk of being here. Weird Al, everybody.